NASCAR cars to have more horsepower in 2026 and a new playoff format is now very possible. Let's break it all down. Hey everybody, welcome to Dirty Air. I'm your host Alex Lambert, and we have some big news to talk about today. An increase in horsepower for the NASCAR Cup Series. Steve O'Donnell announced that on the Dale Jr. download. He also talked a little bit about a revamp in the playoff format. We'll break all that, get into it on this Wednesday edition of Dirty Air, and let's go ahead and dive right on in. And first off is going to be the big breaking news. NASCAR officials announced an increase to 750 horsepower for the Select Cup Series tracks in 2026. And this is, I think, a bit of a bigger deal than we think, right? I mean, we've talked about how the short track racing, the road course racing has not been exactly ideal over the last 3 years or 4 years with this next-gen race car. Goodyear has sort of bailed NASCAR out in a lot of cases, helping them out a lot with massive tire fall off. I mean, Bristol, for example, the Roval had massive tire fall off, for example, this past week. But I think an increase in horsepower is going to help a lot, right? I think that's going to help be able to break up that dirty air a little bit. Should be a lot of fun to see. Like when I go to Martinsville or when I go to these flat tracks, like New Hampshire is one of them, St. Louis, when those tracks have more horsepower, that's what I'm going to be really excited to see, right? They unfortunately haven't done it yet at the mile-and-a-half racetracks yet. They seem to be a little hesitant on that. But yeah, very excited for this announcement. Here's actually, Taylor Kitchen actually put together a list of each racetrack that will increase horsepower. You see like all the road courses in there. Phoenix is another big one, right? Darlington is interesting to see an increase in horsepower at Darlington. I'm really excited to see what that does. Typically all these racetracks are the ones that over the last year or so have been extremely difficult to pass in with dirty air, right? Like I look at Dover again, even Nashville maybe a little bit, but like all the street courses, all the road courses, Richmond's up there on the list as well, just kind of looking through it. New Hampshire, flat racetrack, Charlotte road course, right, all the road courses, all the flat short ovals as well will have a revamp or an increase in horsepower. I guess a bigger tapered spacer potentially is I guess why there'll be more horsepower. But yes, that's exciting. Big news for the Cup Series today. Very excited to see what the Cup Series looks like on these racetracks next year. I've talked to as far as the NASCAR overall, since the debut of the next gen, I know NASCAR has changed a lot since 2022. TV, teams, making the car more advanced. Like there's been minimum changes in everything. Like the car hasn't changed a lot, like very minimal. The point system hasn't changed a lot, very minimal since really 2014 when they started the playoffs. There was a small change in 2017 with stage points, but yes, not a lot of changes to the NASCAR Cup Series at all since 2022. Like it looks very similar to 2022, 2023 on track as it does now in 2025, in my opinion. Yes, so Steve O'Donnell did announce that today. Big. I think that's bigger news than we realize right now for the Cup Series. We'll see what else happens as far as that moving forward, as far as the package moving forward. Steve O'Donnell also addressed the playoff system. This is the only reason I bring this up. This is a huge topic in NASCAR right now, right? People were upset after the Roval. SVG dominated, but there was playoff drama through the field. The playoffs have, from everything I can see online, not been extremely popular, but I think there's a lot of people that do like the playoffs too, maybe not as vocal right now because they have what they want. But this is Jeff Gluck's tweet, right? He kind of explained some bullet points on what he took from Steve O'Donnell on the playoff format, and some of these are interesting to me, and they pretty much line up with what he said on the show. So, nothing will be announced before the end of the season, right? We kind of knew that going in. You don't want to announce it and that overshadow the playoffs this year. He thinks the current playoff format potentially hurts star power, and that's also interesting, right? We've noticed I think all fans that have followed have noticed a big decline in star power over the last few years, right? You don't have your Jeff Gordons, maybe even your Jimmy Johnsons, your Dale Juniors anymore. That certainly is a disadvantage to the Cup Series for sure. Like NASCAR drivers used to be as popular as NFL quarterbacks are today. I would say that. Like Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, even Dale Earnhardt Jr., Tony Stewart. Like these guys were as popular in that time as NFL quarterbacks are today, like really, in pop culture. Everybody knew who those drivers were when I was growing up, and I still have friends that talk about those drivers, so that's interesting for sure that he brought that up. Doesn't like that people talk about the playoffs when someone wins a Daytona 500. That's also interesting to me. That seems like to me that is something they touch. Remember, this is somebody that's inside the NASCAR headquarters every day, working with all these different people, and the fact that they've noticed that the prestige in the Daytona 500 maybe has dropped a little bit because of this, or maybe overshadowed by a playoff spot, is not positive to them, and that makes total sense. I totally agree with that. You don't want that 1 week. That Daytona 500 does not need to be talked about as a getting into the playoff race. It needs to be its own prestigious Daytona 500. There used to be jokes like the real season doesn't start till Atlanta in week 2, or sometimes it was Fontana, Richmond, whatever it was. They said the real season doesn't start till week 2 because everybody went out to win the Daytona 500. That's also a very interesting point and fun to know that they've noted that, right? NASCAR needs drivers to buy into whatever format. Whatever the format is, right? You want the drivers to appreciate the format. And I don't know if I don't know if that's a issue with the playoffs itself. I remember the chase format. The drivers and teams took that very serious when they did the playoffs starting in 2014. Everybody was trying to fight Brad Keselowski because they took it that serious. That was serious in 2014. So maybe I don't know. Maybe there's a little bit more of a negative persona about it from the drivers in the garage area itself. I'm not exactly sure. I'm not walking around the garage area every week. But just from an outside looking in, it does seem like some of the drivers are a little bit more discouraged with this format than the others, excluding Joey Logano, of course. NASCAR says the new format can't have a format in place to bring in new fans at the expense of existing fans. NASCAR fans are not like football fans. Kind of an interesting bullet point there. I don't really know exactly what to make of that. I feel like we've already sort of brought in a kind of a different fan base anyway. You don't want to push out the fans you just made to please fans that have already left. Also, just want to mention that. But I understand what he's saying for sure. But yeah, interesting today on this Wednesday edition, right? I mean, increase in horsepower I think is big at all those racetracks that I named. And it looks like, from everything I'm seeing, we have this playoff board. We have an increase potentially in the 36 race format. I want to hear what you guys think in the comment section, what you want to see. I don't know if I want a complete playoff overhaul. I think we'll definitely get a change. We probably should get a change. But yeah, from what I can see, it seems like NASCAR is going to change it, with all the insider talk, a lot of buzz going around, a potential new format. So yeah, that's it. All there is to talk about, and of course, let's get rowdy.